Hey, yo, what's up, fools? It's Mike from the Chino brothers, and it's Thursday night, so I'm getting ready to start the podcast. I'm super excited because Danny Spanks is going to be on here tonight, and Chris Urbanik, 4 dudes just talking about dude stuff, bands, rock and roll, hip-hop. I hope y'all are excited because I'm super excited. All right, well, I got to start this show, so I better let you go.
Yeah. Dope, dude. Dope
intro. Was that a lazy intro? I don't know.
Well, oh man, what kind of gives it away is you did this like 10 minutes before the show because you're wearing the same thing.
Yeah.
It's in the same studio. It's not out on the street somewhere. So
I was cutting promos all week, and then I had a vape shop to run. So
yeah,
I don't
still
really,
respect, dude.
I don't
Yeah,
really
still respect.
Chino brother for a living. Dude, how's your week?
Going good, going really good. I'm excited for the show too because yes, we've obviously had Chris Urbanic before, and it's always a great time. Last time, and there's last time I felt like we just barely scratched the surface on his experiences, his club stuff, all those famous people he's talked about. Yep. And then the other guy, Danny Spanks. I've known the guy for a few years now. We worked together back at iHeart, and first of all, a radio legend in Bakersfield. I mean, he's been doing it for years. He put Crab on the map. He was one of the originals, and I know there's a lot of stories that I don't know about that I really want to hear about just in radio in general, and just about the dude himself too, because he also has a very successful animal rescue too, A Safer Place. So we got to shout that out
really
too. So it's really cool. Yeah, really cool. So to quote Danny, he loves the doggies and the kitties. That might be wrong on that, but it's something very similar to that too. So I'm excited for all this. How's your week going, man?
Oh, dude, it's going by good because it's Thursday, which means tomorrow's Friday.
Yes,
I don't know, it's been a crazy week,
dude. It's freezing over here in Bakersfield. Is it nice over there in Pitt?
It was really nice in Pittsburgh this week. It was like 60 degrees.
Holy crap!
Yeah, I was like, where am I? But then it started raining. Yeah, and right now, dude, they're doing construction in front of my shop. They closed off the park, like the sidewalk, so none of the shops could get customers. Right before Christmas.
Dude?
Right before Christmas.
That's brutal.
Dude. I was like,
holy crap.
Oh my God.
That's awful. Yeah. Who thought of that?
I have no idea, but the borough chief came over and had to talk to people about it. All right, why don't we bring these dudes on?
Oh, I'm excited.
I think it's really interesting because we've got the West Coast and the East Coast, two very distinct towns. And just a lot of really good stories about musicians and bands and whatnot and radio. Let's just have a conversation, man. What do you say? What's Danny's
starting? You guys are racist. Don't worry, man. We're diversifying today.
I know, dude.
With our guests.
Look, we have 2 Caucasians on the show. That makes 3 in total. So,
yes.
Because Chris was on twice. But,
oh, yeah, true.
True.
All right, let's bring them on. Ladies and gentlemen, Chris Urbanic and Danny Spanks.
What's up, you guys?
Welcome, gentlemen.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, this is awesome, too. And this is, we've been doing this for, 10 months now?
Yeah.
Somewhere around there, too. And finally, we got Danny Spanks to commit to a night. Finally.
That's nuts, dude.
No one cares.
No, this is a big deal, too. Danny, don't sell yourself short, because even when we posted the teaser for this, we were getting comments besides me and you going back and forth, but there were other comments like, Mike said, or we said, hey, this guy's a legend at Bakersfield radio. People are like, yeah, I totally agree. Can't wait. So
hey, just so everyone knows, I'm a medium fish in a medium pond.
I don't know, dude. I think Bakersfield's is a fun market. I do because are you familiar with Danny P at all, Danny Spanks? Do you know Danny P?
Yeah, Danny P's a super good guy. I've met him multiple times and mutual admiration and respect.
Yeah, dude. So he was talking about how many towers there are in Bakersfield. And so in my mind, it's a smart person's market. Because if you want to stay in radio, if there's 30 towers, that means there's 30 stations. That means there's 30 people that are going to want a job.
Yeah, I don't know what the stats are currently, but I remember there were statistics many years ago that basically showed that Bakersfield was the most competitive radio market in America, or at least one of them, because there were, I guess, transmitters per capita or something like that, or formats, but there's just a lot of diversity and a lot of things to choose from in Bakersfield.
But you guys had like
Huh.
3 top 40 stations at one time.
Yeah. It's
That is insane. Like, how do you sustain 3 top 40 stations? So, real quick, I want to introduce Chris Urbanic because we've been talking a lot with Danny Spanks. I don't want to leave Chris out. So, Chris is the head of security here in Pittsburgh for when the bands come into town. So he gets to like drive around. Who was the last person you drove around, Chris, that you thought was kind of weird?
I just did, well, not weird, kind of impressive, actually. Monday, I did Genesis, so I got to ride around Phil Collins, which was like bucket list for me.
Really?
Very
Yeah.
cool. Oh, right on. That's cool.
So explain how this works. You get the call and what happens?
I get the call, they say, show up. You're going to be driving so-and-so, and you just kind of stay silent and stay in your lane and drive as safe as possible with a police escort.
Was there anything weird? Did he like request anything weird?
No, I was a little thrown off because he's in a wheelchair now.
Holy cow.
Yeah,
wow, that sucks.
So it was kind of sad, you know. But he still has his voice. His voice is immaculate. He can't play drums anymore. So his son is actually playing drums for him right now, which is pretty impressive. And I know that has to be a proud moment, but it's just sad seeing somebody that, like, you know, is an icon in music and just being sort of like torn down and physically just disabled, you know?
Hold on. Is that the most impressive person you've ever met?
No, probably the guys from the Rolling Stones. I mean, Keith Richards, it was amazing to see him walk because I thought he would be dead years ago.
All right, hold on. Danny, who's the most impressive person you've ever met?
I don't know. It's kind of tough to say. I think it depends on your, personal opinion. I've met the guys from Metallica, guys from Linkin Park, from Korn, Foo Fighters. A lot of the big, rock stars. I've got to meet them, and I've been really fortunate that they've all been like really super cool. You always hear their stories about rock stars that are stuck up and jerks, and actually, the biggest ones that I've met have been just really nice guys.
And that's why they're there. I found that out. Like, the people who are the biggest are the nicest, hands down.
I will say the nicest and the most fun was Dave Grohl of the Foo Fighters. And if you see any of the stuff that Dave does, or the Foo Fighters in general, they're just a fun band. And Dave was fantastic. It was on the 1x1 tour here in Bakersfield. We had the radio station had some meet and greeters backstage, and everybody was super uptight. It's like, okay, this is Dave Grohl, and there was still that thing about he's the guy from Nirvana, so everybody was uptight. And Dave walked in, and he looked at everybody being uptight, and he just like poked fun at everybody and goes, "Hey, we're the Rock and Stroll Show. Lighten up, you guys!" And everybody started laughing and smiling. And he worked the room. Was super, super nice, super cool. One of the nicest guys. One of the nicest rock stars you'll ever meet.
Was that around the time of the first Foo Fighters album? So he was kind of just breaking away from being a part of Nirvana?
No.
This was his third. This was their third album. It was
okay.
Yeah, 1x1 with All My Life on it.
Oh, okay, cool. So, because I was thinking about that too. If you just come out of that, it'd be a little different. But if you're 3 albums in, you're definitely established as your own artist with the Foo Fighters at that point. Was that what venue was that?
Hold on, real quick. What's everybody's opinion on the Foo Fighters here? Because I'll tell you right now, I really like the Foo Fighters, and I'll tell you why I like the Foo Fighters. When they turned me. So I had that same thing, right? Where it's like, oh, I got it, man. Nirvana's drummer. Okay, I got you. But I think it was because I didn't really like Courtney Love, right? That was his wife?
Yeah.
I didn't like her music. So I was like, dude, you're just coattailing, bro. But then when I saw the video for Big Me, and they did the Mentos commercial.
Yeah.
I don't know why. I was like, that's it, man. This band is dope.
That was
like,
sick.
I love this
they don't
band.
take themselves seriously.
Yeah, maybe
that's
that
the
was
big
it,
thing.
I guess.
Like, they're in it to have fun. They're like the true essence of rock and roll. Like, they're having fun. They're decent people. Like, you see videos online constantly of Dave Grohl bringing up kids on stage to play guitar or play drums or sing. And like, I think that's what makes him, because he has a connection and he actually cares about his fans. Even though he's playing stadiums, he's pulling little kids out of the crowd.
What I'd say about Dave Grohl and the Foo Fighters is the Foo Fighters is the greatest band that Dave Grohl has ever been in. And that goes.
Wow, that's nuts.
If I have a choice between listening to Nirvana or listening to the Foo Fighters, I'm going to listen to the Foo Fighters. And actually, it was funny, that show that I was talking about. That was the show where I went from like, yeah, the Foo Fighters, they're okay, they're cool, to loving the Foo Fighters. And a funny thing about that, I'm not trying to take up everybody's time here, is at that time, there were 3 Foo Fighter songs that I really, really liked and I really, really wanted to hear. And that was All My Life, My Hero, and the song from the Orange County soundtrack called The One. Right?
Oh,
So
I know that's that one. You're not the one,
one,
but you're the only one who can make me feel like this.
So
It's
I'm
got that
like,
nice punk rock backbeat.
oh
It's
yeah,
a super good song.
It's a great song.
Yeah.
And so I just wanted to see those 3 songs. Well, the first 3 songs they did were those 3 songs.
Oh, nice.
After that, I said, all right, I'm out of here. And I left the show. I didn't
Holy
care.
God, you did?
Yes. I went home and I broke out The Color and the Shape. Or no, I'm sorry. There Is Nothing Left to Lose, the black and white album cover with the Foo Fighters tattoo on the whatever.
What's up, Gavin?
And I skipped the radio singles. Like there was Learn to Fly and Stacked Actors and that stuff. And I started with like track 3 or 4. And those album tracks were so much better than the radio tracks.
Oh, yeah.
Give Me Stitches, Headwires, Aurora, MIA, Live in Skin. There were all these great album tracks from the Foo Fighters. And I'm like, oh my God, these guys are great. And then I went to the color and the Shape and the same thing. I'm like, forget about My Hero or Everlong. I listen to the album tracks and I'm like, My Poor Brain is like my favorite Foo Fighters song. So I became a huge Foo Fighters fan after the fact, and I kick myself today that I didn't stay for that entire show. I've seen them many times since then, but anyway, that's how I became a Foo Fighters fan. And I'll shut up now.
No, you're good, Danny. Danny, are you familiar with the guy called Frank Turner?
Oh yeah. He's had a couple of really, really good songs.
Dude, I love that guy. That's my like.
What song is that?
It's
I'm
take me down to the English Channel, throw me in where the water is shallow, and then drag me on back to shore.
You're a fanboy.
Cause love is real and not different. As long as I got me a place to sleep, clothes on my back and shoes on my feet. Dude, so he wrote this song called The Road. And he made this music video for that song where he did 24 shows in 24 hours. But anyways, I saw that guy at Stage AE, which is one of the smaller venues in Pittsburgh. And you could tell he was the guy that everybody wanted to be around. Like he was just that good rock and roller. You know what I mean?
He'll never place that small again. Never.
You don't think so?
Yeah. Nope.
Do you think he's that big?
I do. There's a lot of talk on that. Like that scene is picking up huge.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh. Interesting. Hey, but going back to the Foo Fighters Nirvana real quick. I was like, I love Nirvana as far as like, Nevermind, the album. I thought it was amazing. And then they did the Unplugged thing. Danny might call me a sellout because that was one of the kind of the popular ones, but I love that stuff. And then I kind of went when the Foo Fighters came out. I'll admit I kind of didn't get it for a long time, and I've went back and I've listened to albums, and I don't know where the holdup is. I just felt like, but I will say this: I think Dave Grohl is cool as heck, like one of the coolest dudes. You always see the cool stuff he did. Dude, when he broke his leg, he was going out in the wheelchair doing shows, and you're thinking like, dude, that's dedication, that's respect.
Did you see the video where he actually broke his leg? He was yelling to the crowd like, "We'll be back."
Yeah.
Like he didn't care. He was like, "We'll be back."
Yes, he just seems so cool like that too. But it was, I mean, the difference between Nirvana and Foo Fighters, though, the music is totally different, right? Mm-hmm. I mean, can we agree on that? I almost feel like looking back, because Danny, dude, when I came over to iHeart, I was kind of a hip hop guy. You know what I mean? And now I'm working.
You're kind of a hip hop guy.
I'm a hip hop guy.
Hold on, wait, Danny. So me and Adlai, we were DJs when we were young, right? So, but like, I always wanted to work at an alternative rock station.
Yeah.
Things weren't that progressive back then. They weren't looking for someone like me. Well, but I love that music. I love that music, and I love ska, and like just like just this like wild music. But me and Ad lived together, and he would be like, "Turn that off, turn that skanking pickle off. I don't want to hear it." I'm like, "All right, man, I'm sorry," you know. And then we put on hip hop, right? But like everybody knew I listened to weird music, or that's what they called it, weird music, right? And that's all I wanted.
In our circle. Yeah, I
wanted to work at alternative rock stations so bad, and I would apply like every 6 months, right? Nope. And then finally, Adela's like, "Dude, just apply at the hip hop station." I was the morning show producer there like 6 months after I got there, bro. Like it was like it, but it just I guess I didn't fit in the alternative rock sound as a disc jockey. You know what I mean? I have the nice throat, but probably the inflection of my voice probably didn't work as well.
I don't know.
Interesting.
Well, whatever the case is, I think that's unfortunate. I hate to hear stuff like that because you're obviously a music guy, and if you're a music guy and you love music, I mean, that to me, that's all that really matters. It's like, like for example, like the teaser, the promo for this thing that Adelaide did, which is like completely ridiculous and over the
Might
top.
put it together, but yeah,
and exaggerated. I'm best known for the stuff I did on Crab, but on my new station, Classic Hits Q9 2.1 in Bakersfield. Have to do that. I mean, it's like this is the music I grew up with, and I absolutely love it. And it's nothing like what I played on Crab. This is stuff from the 60s, the 70s, the 80s that I absolutely love. And there's country stuff that I love. There's R&B that I love. There's hip hop that I love. There's just so many different things. So when you talk about loving, alternative music when you were growing up, and that's what you wanted to do, I wanted to be a top 40 guy. When I was growing up, I listened to top 40 radio. I wound up, I started at a soft rock oldie station. And then I started a top 40 station. And then I went to a rock station. And it's just,
I started at a classical station. I started at a classical station, and I thought that I was going to be able to fall in love with classical music because I was around it so much. It didn't work. And I sucked at it. But I could do the voice, right? So here we go. You're listening to Classical KUAT, Tucson, Arizona. Coming up in the next hour, we have Shostakovich, Brahms, and Beethoven. The time's 11:30, and it's 63 degrees. Okay, we're going back to music through the night. Then I would check the numbers and all that other bull crap you had to do. You know what I mean? But neither here nor there. So Adlai, at the time, he lived in this apartment up the way, and him and all these fools that we used to party with, we were in a DJ crew together. They would call me and they'd be like, "Hey, Sketch," that was my radio name, Sketch. "Hey, Sketch, say this word in the next break," and they just throw some word that I'd have to say.
It's like some Super Trooper stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
Throw me out. Bring me out.
Yeah,
that was so good. That was so good.
But anyways, but Chris has never been in radio, so he can talk as much crap as he wants on any artist he feels like it, because he doesn't have to worry about it. Chris, who is the biggest D-bag you've ever had to work with?
MGK, hands down.
Machine Gun Kelly, hands down?
Hands down.
Holy cow.
When he came to Altar Bar, he was just coming up. It was like a 700 cap room, nothing big, and he just thought he was the cat's meow. Like, he thought he was everything. He was down there smoking blunts in the green room. We're like, "You can't smoke in here, dude." He's like, "I'll do what I want." I'm like, "We're gonna shut down the show, bro." And then, of course, he's from Cleveland. We're from Pittsburgh, so that didn't go over well. So he came out with the Browns flag, flailing it. I'm like,
geez.
"You're gonna get hurt."
We're rival towns. Pittsburgh and Cleveland hate each other.
Yeah. It's the Rust Belt. So then halfway through his set, he's doing all this nutty stuff. He's jumping from the balcony out into the crowd. He's like asking girls to flash him, and like half the crowd is like under 16.
Oh, geez.
So like you can't do that. So halfway through his last song, he walks along the bar, which we told him not to do because it was a glass bar. So like it could shatter at any moment. He's jumping up and down, trying to be hyped, and he leans out into the crowd, and somebody touches his chain, and immediately he gets like, "Stop the music. Somebody touched my chain. I'll fight anybody who touched my chain." And all the guys from security just looked at him like, "You're going to get beat up and we're going to walk away."
Really?
Oh, yeah. Like, why are you trying to start fights? You're not that big, number one. He's still not even that big. Eminem destroyed him on all of that stuff. But now he's going. I found out the other day. Some kid was telling me he went punk rock. Apparently, like he's playing guitar at shows now. He was at the Pete where Pitt is, and he was playing like punk rock stuff. So like he's just in it for the money. He doesn't care about any of it.
I'm not super familiar with that scene or with Machine Gun Kelly, but if I'm not mistaken, I mean, as you're talking about him making that transition to a different genre,
Yeah.
if I'm not mistaken, he was like talking smack about Slipknot or something like that.
Yeah.
There's some sort of rivalry between MGK and Slipknot. There's no rivalry.
No,
MGK is a clown.
Yeah,
Slipknot is legit, and I mean that's period.
Yeah.
It's like, dude, you are trying too hard. Knock it off.
The only thing he has going for him now is he's dating Megan Fox. That's it.
Bull Crowd got booed off the stage. Yeah, we covered that story. Remember, Mike? We talked about that. Yeah, that's right. That's right.
But dude, I don't know if Megan Fox is still hot though. Is she?
Yeah.
Is she really? I kind of feel like she's got some city miles on her, dude.
Yeah.
I'm being honest, man. I'm not trying to be impolite. You know, all women are pretty, obviously, to their moms and their dads. But is she still pretty? I don't know if I'm feeling that one.
I mean, that's still an accomplishment. I still don't understand why she's with him, because he's a rough looking guy. Like his teeth are messed up. Like he's Cleveland white trash. And it's rough seeing him now.
So interesting. Now on the alternative station Crab over here, they do play that one song from Machine Gun Kelly. In New York City.
Yeah, he plays it on a pink guitar.
I wouldn't know. I haven't listened to that radio station since 2019.
Really? Yeah, done with it, huh?
Bakersfield gets real.
Yeah, I was looking for a t-shirt,
God.
an old t-shirt. I couldn't find one. I guess I gave them all away too. I was like, man,
dude, I can't listen to new music. Do you guys feel the same way? I think new music, like not all new music, but the music they play on the popular radio station sucks. I can't listen to it.
Yeah,
welcome to the club.
Yeah, and alternative kind of took that turn of basically pop. A lot of it, not all of it, but a lot of it too. So when you're flipping between top 40 and like an alt station, there's a lot of similarities now, a lot. And it's like, and Danny, when you brought up Crab here in Bakersfield, it was a hard rock station, right? I mean, it was the hard stuff.
Well, actually, this brings up something, and again, I go back to your exaggerated, teaser promo for, this, this event and this podcast. Where I did not start Crab. Okay.
Oh shoot. Okay.
I just want to make sure that's out there. Okay. Crab was started.
He said he had the crabs, Adley. I don't know why. I don't know why he put that man on blast, man.
Actually,
real.
No one needed to know that.
So the original owners of Crab were Cliff and Pete, the managers of Metallica. Okay, they were the original owners of the radio station. First program director was another a greater Bakersfield radio legend named Chris Squires, Spidey.
Ah, okay.
And so there was another an original air staff. Some great people I would love to name drop or whatever, but I did not start Crab. Now, once I did arrive at Crab, yeah, as far as like the length of my tenure, I was there longer than anybody in the history of the radio station. So there's that. So, but I just wanted to make sure that I.
Okay, now I can say this though: Crab and Danny Spanks were pretty much synonymous for a long time.
Well, it's one of those things where if you stick around long enough, eventually that kind of happens. There are definitely many disc jockeys that came before me on Crab that would be considered iconic. The real Bruce Wayne,
yeah,
and Kelly are two examples of just jocks that have passionate followings and a lot of name recognition. Mike Bell from Hell. I mean, who could forget him?
Shout out Mike. Yes.
So So I was I think the thing is I was never better than any of those disc jockeys. It's just I lasted longer. So I'm that guy where it's like if you turn on that radio station and you hear his name, eventually it's like, oh yeah, it's like you just become synonymous with the radio station. So I don't think it was my talent. It was just a matter of being able to, hang in there for longer than everybody else.
That was a lot of words for this man to try to be humble. All right, come on, Danny Spanks. Don't worry about that type of stuff. It doesn't matter. You want to know who I feel really sorry for? And I say this all the time. People who do sales jobs in the radio. And here's why. Because they all wanted to be disc jockeys, but their voices didn't sound nice.
Well, there are some salespeople that would disagree with you about that,
You think so?
who want to do their own spots.
Oh, I see where you're going there. Never mind. Never mind. I thought
or
you were
coach
going
you
the
the
other
whole
direction.
way through
Yeah, I thought
producing
you
a
guys were going
commercial.
the other direction. I thought he was going to say they truly have the passion for radio sales.
No, I would never want that job. That's for sure. No, I mean, yeah, I could not hang with that job. God bless them. God bless them. We wouldn't have jobs if it wasn't for salespeople.
Yeah, well,
that's true.
God bless them as well. But they have bad voices and they can't deliver lines very well. That's the way it goes. And they can't tell jokes. And they can't sound funny. All right, Chris, come on, man. I want to hear another story from you. What's the biggest beating you ever gave somebody at a concert?
It was probably Raekwon, the guys, and Ghostface. They played altar. This white guy in the background, you knew he was.
Wait, hold on. You have to explain, because you talk about this stuff like these guys live in Pittsburgh. So there's a place in Pittsburgh, used to be a church in the Strip District.
It's now a church
Ooh.
again.
Yeah, now it's a church again. But it's in the Strip District. And the Strip District is like, it's like the Tenderloin. It's like where you go, it's not perverted. Like explain it, Chris.
So during the day, they have like all these shops and markets. It's like they have produce, the Chinese food guys on the side. You can actually get like real, like authentic food down there. But then at night,
Prosciutto.
it's all clubs. Like it's all clubs down there. So
Yeah.
you have like the gay club down the street, Lucky's. You have Altar, which is like the rock club. And then you have a couple bars and comedy clubs down. It's just a place for young people to hang out.
All right, now explain this Raekwon the
Okay,
chef story at the
so
altar bar.
We're sitting there, and this white guy in the background, as soon as he came in, he had on gym shorts and like a wife beater. And I'm like, this guy's going to be a problem. I knew it. He wasn't drunk when he came in, but I just saw it. I was like, he's going to be a problem. So he's sitting there and he's ordering drinks all night. And we have this one bartender. She's fairly attractive, fake boobs, all that. And halfway through the night, she cut him off. He's like, you're too drunk. You can't go on. So he's like, you're a B, going off on her, flipping out. So he decides that he's going to jump on the bar. He jumps up on the bar. He tries to grab for the tip jar. One of our security guys grabbed him. He gets out to the front and he's flipping out. He's like, F you guys. This is some BS, all this. All of a sudden he turns around. He sees me. He's like, he starts saying, oh, you think you're so tough in the security shirt? You're real tough, huh? I'm going to swing on you. I was like, go ahead. I had my hands on my sides. He swung. As soon as he swung, he sort of turned. And when he turned, I wrapped him up, took him out the front door, and we had this cop. This cop was cool. He was my favorite cop ever. Like, I'm not about police, but he was my favorite because he'd flipped the script on everybody. So this guy went out the front door, and there was 8 steps. They were granite steps going down the front of this
I
church.
know that. I know the steps of the altar.
I rode this dude like a sled.
Oh
down
man,
the front of this club. His face was all messed up. His wife beater was ripped.
that
mustard
slides right
stained.
into Penn Avenue, bro.
Oh yeah,
Too.
and the cop just looks at him. He's like, "Do you want to catch charges for drunken disorderly?" He's like, "I want to press charges against him. He abused me. He did this. He did that." I was like, "No." So Duffy looks at him, this cop, and he's like, "Do you want to catch charges?" He's like, "No." He's like, "Walk down the street and walk away." That was it. Guy walked away,
nice.
and that was done. I mean, his face was just shredded.
Oh my
In
god!
front of this. I felt so bad
Why
afterwards.
did you do that to that man?
Because
dude?
he swung on me. Like, look, I have a wife and kids. I have things to worry about,
Yeah, but the guy's a drunk. Dude.
Yeah, and he was swinging. Number one, he was trying to steal money from our bartender, and
Oh
which
yeah,
was
that's
our
not
manager.
very nice. Yeah,
You gotta
you're not supposed to
protect
be doing
her.
stuff like that. Yeah,
And then on top of that, you're swinging on my security guys. That's not going down.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's crazy.
It's just
Did-
disrespectful. Like people think all these security guys are like meatheads and like they just live to beat people up. It's not about that. Like they want to get home just like everybody else. They have day jobs. This is not their main job. This is not what they do for a living. They can't come into work with a black eye the next day and be like, "Oh yeah, I was just working last night." That's not how it works.
I don't know, dude. You used to work up with those juiced up dudes, bro. Danny Spanks.
I had a couple
in the house. Rose Holloway.
What up, Rose?
Thanks, Rose.
You had those two homeboys of yours that were juiced up.
One was called Traps because his trapezoid, he didn't have a neck. It was just here to here. And he's like, I don't even lift, bro. I just take my D-ball and I eat right.
Are you serious?
Oh, yeah. He was huge.
He was that jacked and he didn't lift?
Yeah. And you see him nowadays and he looks like he's anorexic.
He got off the sauce. Come on, bro. You can't get off the sauce. Don't
Now, do you
Barry
guys-
Bonds me?
Let me ask, in Pittsburgh, do you guys have a club where it's country on one side and other on the other side?
No.
I could not imagine
Because
that would happen.
Spanks, remember Rockin' Rodeo?
Yes, I remember Rock and Rodeo quite vividly.
Rockin' Rodeo is interesting because I moved here in 2005, and I moved from Tucson, and one of my last gigs was at the club where it got shot up inside the club, and I was like, thank goodness I'm leaving Arizona, getting out of there, My first on the news the first day I was here, there's crab radio. I don't know if it was crab. I shouldn't say that, but it was Rockin' Rodeo. There was a shooting out front, and I was like, where did I move to? Oh my gosh, it's like the Wild West out here. And Dan, you guys did some club stuff over at Rockin' Rodeo too. And did it ever get crazy out of hand over there?
Well, just so you know, that Crab was no longer at Rock and Rodeo at that particular time when that event happened.
Covering his butt.
But our involvement with Rock and Rodeo, our claim to fame was on Wednesday night was the wet T-shirt contest. So it was wet T-shirt Wednesdays. And I was the host for that. Would happen at midnight, and there were a lot of things that happened that what happens in Rock and Rodeo stays in Rock and Rodeo. There were a couple of times where I think the authorities shook their finger at Rock and Rodeo for some of the things that were going on stage. I know that hosting that event was a lot of fun. I got to use language that I did not typically use on the radio.
Okay.
But yeah, it was a lot of fun and was very. It was a show for sure. Thanks to the ladies.
What was the prize for the T-shirt contest?
I think it was like $500 if you won. I think it was a nice prize. I think it was like $500 if I'm not
That's a big
mistaken.
prize. Mike and I hosted the bikini contest, and the prize was $50.
And we had to recruit.
We had to recruit. It was so sad.
Dude, I had to
Come
do
on,
a
baby.
wet T-shirt contest for Metro Stevie, dude.
Yeah.
And I had to recruit. I'm like, dude, I don't want to do this. I'm like going up to people, and it's like, that's my wife. Don't ask her to be in a wet T-shirt contest. Tequila
Cowboy?
is a new club bar in the North Shore. What about that, Chris?
They have
Tequila
country
Cowboy?
stuff. They've had people stabbed there.
at
Remember-
Tequila Cowboy?
Yeah, it was like right before the pandemic hit, they had a stabbing out front of there, and they're like, it wasn't a Tequila Cowboy. It didn't happen there. I'm like, it happened there. Let's be real. It's a bunch of frat boys that like country, but also are into hip hop just because of the girls. Yeah, I mean, they have club nights there, but I have a boy that plays there like 3 or 4 times a month, and it's mostly country.
It is okay. Because Rock and Rodeo was primarily country. Bakersfield's kind of a country town, wouldn't you say, Danny? For the most part,
Kind of.
it's a country town.
How
Yeah.
does country work on the West Coast?
Dude, it's
Well-
weird. It's not what you're thinking, Chris. It's like if you drop Tucson and threw LA dust over it. That's exactly what Bakersfield is, dude. I'm
So
not
like
lying
rhinestone
to you.
cowboy type stuff.
No, dude, I'm telling you, it's like Tucson if you just threw a little California. Like they have an In-N-Out though. It's Tucson, but they have an In-N-Out and they have boba tea and like
Okay.
stuff that you won't have in Tucson. But it's still
Avocado.
Tucson. I'm sorry,
Yeah,
you guys, I interrupted.
Bakersfield and Kern County, and Adlai, you can vouch for this. It's like Kern County is like this patch of Texas that has been, planted in the middle of California. It's very conservative. It's very blue collar. It's farming and oil workers and very country and very conservative, very Republican. California is a very blue state, but Kern County is definitely just a kind of like an anomaly. So there's a lot of people that move from Oklahoma, Texas to Bakersfield, Kern County, and vice versa.
Like cowboy hats on the regular and Spurs.
Yeah, dude, for real. Like I told you, Tucson, Arizona. You grab Tucson, Arizona. You've been to Tucson, Chris.
Yeah.
That's why I'm using this as the example. Pick it up and you sit it in California.
So like real country though.
Is this one of those things
Yeah.
where Chris, you're thinking that everybody in California, they live at the beach and there's palm trees and girls with bikinis running
Hollywood.
around?
Everybody eating avocado toast and that.
Yeah.
No, it's not like that in Bakersfield, bro.
Yeah, it's different.
It's Central California. It's not like, but dude, I'm telling you, it's like Tucson. I've been there several times, and it reminds me of Tucson because I lived in Tucson.
Yeah, a lot of similarities too. But then again, there was also when you talk about rock too, Korn's from here.
Yeah.
So there was a lot of Danny, you were here in the 90s and 2000s, and I've done research on old rock bands. Was it Cradle of Thorns or whatever?
Cradle of Filth.
Yeah, there's some really good bands that came out of Bakersfield. Obviously, Korn seems like it's the biggest one. And then on the countryside, you had Merle Haggard, Buck Owens. I mean, these huge guys that were here called it home.
Big.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And then you had the Baker Boys on the hip hop side. And they're from Bakersfield, hip hop guys, and now they're syndicated in 50 markets. So
when we talked about doing this, and you were talking about old school radio stories. So the one Baker Boys story I can tell is that I used to be their board op here in Bakersfield.
What?
Oh my gosh!
Yeah,
crap.
yeah. So,
Dude, that's awesome.
Yeah, this was when I was I spent about 9 months at a top 40 station here in town, and they would come in on the weekends and do their things, and I was the board op. And so it was a lot of fun, and they used to tease me about being the white guy, and I used to embrace being the nerdy white guy, trying to fit in with them on the ones and twos and the wheels of steel. But they were super cool guys. I remember. And I was checking out one of your earlier podcasts. You're talking about Lighter Shade of Brown.
Yeah.
And I remember they had them, come into the studio and hang with them at least once that I remember seeing them.
That's cool.
But yeah, they were super cool guys.
Was that at the iHeart Studios, or was that?
That was the iHeart Studios that you and I were at, but it wasn't iHeart at the time.
Oh, okay. Was there a lot of weed smoke?
I stayed in my studio. They stayed in theirs.
Oh,
dude, it's hard to get weed in Bakersfield, man. You got to go to Oildale to get weed in Bakersfield. I feel sorry for the Baker Boys if they were smoking weed.
that's Danny's hood though. The 08 Oildale.
The Oildale.
Yeah, I live north of the river. I do live in the 08. I
don't know what that means.
933. It's the zip code. 93308 is Oildale.
Yeah. So. It definitely has a reputation, just like most things. I think that there's, a very small portion of let's say a community that gives the bigger community kind of a negative connotation. But,
Don't feel bad. Chris is from Northside.
Yeah.
Is that the Oildale of Pittsburgh?
Bred. When I die, I'll be Northside dead.
That's right. Northside born, Northside bred. When I die, I'll be Northside dead.
Northside is very when I grew up, it was very Irish Catholic. Now it's more diverse. We have a lot of rainbow flags in the neighborhood now, which boosts up my property value, which is fine. But it's still got that old school mentality, like where people will help each other. We're in the city, but neighbors still look out for each other. So I love it over here.
Danny has Oildale, has it changed? Because I felt like I lived there it was like 10, 12 years ago. and you'd see some kind of like Nazi
You
stuff
lived in
sometimes.
Oildale,
Yeah,
Adley?
yeah, for a little bit.
Oh man, you were down on your luck, bro.
But it was cheap to live, and it's close to everything, and Tweak was readily available.
Oh,
No, I'm just kidding. I'm kidding.
The blue.
But
No,
there were
what do you mean-
zombies.
What do you mean you're kidding, Adley? I mean,
If you wanted
I mean,
it was close by. Yeah.
people in Bakersfield and people in Oildale, they're not going to disagree with you. And again, it's one of those things where it's a most people in Oildale don't fall into that category. The unfortunate thing is there are a lot of people in Oildale that fall into that category.
Oh man.
So yeah,
Oh,
you
that
see
sounds like
some-
Westview.
Yeah, I mean, if you may have trouble finding weed, but you won't have trouble finding meth. All right, so
That's not good.
maybe you just got to up your game.
No, it's not for me. I was on vacation in California. It's legal there. Figured, hey, it's legal here. Why don't I just get a couple of those gummies I hear the kids talking about in the rap music? Doo-doo-doo. All of a sudden, I'm like, where am I? Oildale. But yeah, so where do you think, real quick, Chris, where do you think is less gentrified at this point? Your neighborhood in Brighton Heights or my neighborhood in Polish Hill?
Oh, Polish Hill, 100%. You still got the old families. Mine is like the people that have inherited their homes and like, ooh, we can flip it. There's still parts in Polish Hill that are, I mean, it's still OG, pierogies and halushki.
Yeah, everybody on my street's Polish but us.
Yeah.
Everybody.
I mean, they're still holding on to those roots, which is great. Like, that's what Pittsburgh was built on. You had the Polish section, you had the Italian section, you had the German section, but a lot of those have gone away. But Polish Hill is still holding on pretty strong.
Danny, you want to know something weird about Polish Hill?
Huh.
It's a punk rock neighborhood.
Oh, 100%.
So like when you
Gooskies.
when you see those movies about the East Coast with those like punk rock bars, yeah, that's Polish Hill. Our whole borough is just like
Really?
a punk rock neighborhood. Yeah.
Well, Mike, do
Goosey's,
you remember
the Rock Room.
when I was in that band back early 2000s? We played Gooskies. That was one of the best shows ever
That's a fun place.
because they love that. They love hard music. They love anything on the fringe, and they're beer drinking great people.
Yeah. Man, it's the Polish.
Cool.
Why don't we
Yeah.
get to the news, Adlai? Let's bring up some news,
You guys
see what
wanna-
everybody says.
Oh, you guys want to jump to it?
Let's
Okay,
do
let's
it.
do it. Let's do it. All right, you guys. Hope you're ready for this. Welcoming all your comments too on this. Now, I think I'm going to start out with something light first, and because you guys love new music so much, we're going right to BTS. Chris, Danny, have you heard of BTS?
Yes.
That's one of my favorite
K-pop.
sandwiches.
Good
BTS.
old
What's a
K-pop.
BTS? What's a BTS sandwich?
It's, bacon, tomato, and sausage, right?
I thought it was salami.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, salami.
You guys are trying to get a heart attack. You're putting bacon and salami in a sandwich.
That's fat kid stuff. Come on.
Well, BTS is actually a K-pop band that all the kids love today. And this is really interesting. BTS, after 7 years of just being BTS as a group on Instagram, they've all got their own accounts now, and they're using Instagram as a group chat. And of course, we're finding it hilarious. So this is great. All the fans can see them interact with each other. And just to take a clip of what they've been posting each other was, for example, Archive said, "Zzz, I'm sleeping." And then THV says, "My beard grew out a lot. Would they be surprised if I show it?" And then You Army Hope says, "Let's hold back."
Koreans don't have beards.
I thought that was a funny part too. And then You Army Hope says, "I went on a trip. Everyone posted." And then Archive says, "LOL." And then THV
That's the most
says,
racist thing I ever heard in my life, dude. Why you say some
Let's
stuff
be
like
real.
that?
Look at
Chris, both me and Adlai are Asian.
Asian. You're Japanese. You're half
What is this?
Japanese.
Yeah,
What is this?
That's not Korean. I'm thinking
Oh,
Kim
okay.
Jong Un.
Yeah, Kevin Chung. Kevin
He
Chung
would have
can't.
he would
yeah,
have
he
the
can't grow any
Crosby
facial
stash.
hair.
The little
Yeah, that's
mustache.
bad, dude. When Kevin tries to do it, dude, I'm like, oh, come on, Kevin, man, you need to shave, bro. That doesn't look
Yeah.
right. Yeah.
Danny,
Bad
you do
vibes.
facial hair sometimes, right? You've done a goatee before.
Yeah. I mean, it's been a while with the goatee, but
Yeah. Okay. Okay.
Wait, what's the deal with this BTS, you guys? What do you guys think?
Smooth like butter, baby.
You do that just to make me angry. Stop doing it.
Smooth like butter. Danny?
I would go back to the portion of the conversation earlier, Mike, when you talked about new music sucks.
Yeah.
So I have no, I don't know anything about them. I know who they are, but I've never listened to them. Never listened. Don't care to listen, and I'm hoping there's a story coming up next that I can actually comment on.
Well, let me throw this
There
at you.
has to be an end on this, though, isn't there? Like,
Yeah.
What if Insane Clown Posse would talk like that on a group chat?
Man.
I took some pictures. Should I post them? Do you think that's what?
Awful.
Danny's OG though, right? On the ICP, aren't you?
That's well. So the actual answer to the question is no, but the funny answer is yeah.
You're not a Fago spraying guy.
I've got an ICP tattoo on my chest. I got a chest piece.
wait,
Let's see it.
What's the deal with Adlai and Sugar Ray? Adlai, you like Sugar Ray, dude?
That's poor judgment.
That goes back to my point when I was like, I was a hip hop dude, and then when I went over to work with Danny with Spanks, I was like, I really like that little Sugar Ray guys. They're pretty cool. And
Bro, you could have you could have listened to any of the CDs we had in our house that I owned. Like, dude, like nowadays you're like, yeah, I really like Sublime. I'm like, you hated Sublime when I would play it in our apartment. You'd be like, oh, turn that off.
Saying that you like Sugar Ray is like saying you like Nickelback. That's a problem.
I like Nickelback.
There it is. Proof is in the pudding.
But you think about it, they make hits.
Wait, hold on.
Let me catchy songs.
I'm trying to think of the hip hop equivalent.
Will Smith,
Crisscross,
kind of.
Crisscross.
Crisscross. Ooh, yeah, Crisscross.
because everybody knows them. Everybody will sing that song.
Hammer was that guy that kind of got clowned too. Remember?
Or what was that
like
one dude? What about that one guy? Informer.
Snow?
No.
Yeah, Snow.
Yeah.
Snow, yeah, Snow the product.
Snow the product's the YouTube.
That's
the YouTube
real.
girl. That's the YouTube girl.
Not Snow.
But Danny, you played a lot of this stuff on your top 40 stations, didn't you? As it crossed over. Mark
BTS?
McGrath, Sugar Ray.
Oh,
No.
Oh, I got you.
Hammer.
No. Well, which station are you talking about? Are you talking about when I was in the top 40 station with the Baker Boys, or you're talking about? Are you talking about Sugar Ray? Or you're talking about Snow? Which one?
I would probably
Man, he was playing both.
Sugar Ray. Let's go Sugar Ray first.
Of course,
Yeah,
pick Sugar Ray.
we played it. We played a ton of Sugar Ray on Crab.
Rose is clowning Sugar Ray too.
that was that era where that top 40 alternative sound or the more mainstream alternative stuff started working out real well.
How much cocaine do you think that dude did? That Sugar Ray guy.
He was on that rehab show with Dr. Drew.
Oh, was he?
Was he really?
Oh,
Or
yeah.
was it the Come My Lady guy? Because they kind of look alike. Sugar Ray and that guy.
They're kind of the same
Butterfly.
person.
What was that group? Butterfly.
That's Crazy Town.
Crazy
Yeah.
Town. Crazy
Was it
Town.
the
All
Crazy
the
Town
white
guy or
people
was it the
look the
Sugar Ray
same.
guy?
I will say Sugar Ray did come to Bakersfield. They played CSUB back in the day. The opening act was Orgy. And I remember seeing Mark McGrath of Sugar Ray as a front man, as a lead singer. He did a great job. He was very self-aware of, he's the new heartthrob of the alternative scene.
Good
And
for
it's
him.
what I call,
Okay.
no, but he made fun of himself. And he was he was a very likable, handsome young dude. He was likable, if you're
That
like
sucks.
me, typically the reaction is, it's like, I hate that dude. He's better looking. He's more successful.
Yeah.
But I just remember afterwards going, yeah, he's not a bad guy.
That's what I gotta appreciate that though, Danny, that you're honest about that. But that has nothing to do with BTS. We need to get to the next story. We need to get to the next story, Adlai, because these dudes ain't got nothing nice to say about BTS.
Okay, let's go. Classic rock. Let's go. Bruce Springsteen reportedly sold his music catalog worth hundreds of millions of dollars, and He may have just made a cool $500 million. Looks like Bruce Springsteen has sold the rights to his music catalog to Sony Music Entertainment for a value that could be north of $500 million. This is according to the New York Times. Let's see, citing sources briefed on the deal. If you're that big of an artist, do you sell your music?
No.
No.
You don't?
$500 million?
No.
It's a lot of money, bro.
You sell it. Your kids sell it posthumously.
Yeah. Or you just continue making money off of it, don't you? Or do you think it's selling, everybody loves it, and all of a sudden there's going to be that dip where it's
Who
like, you
cares
know what?
about Bruce Springsteen.
It's $500 million that we're talking about here, Chris.
That's that's a lot of money, but wouldn't you wait from, at that point for your kids to just sell that off after you're gone?
What do you say, Danny?
Correct me if I'm wrong. Chris, did you just say who cares about Bruce Springsteen?
I'm not a fan.
How?
And listen,
I've worked for him twice. I'm not a fan.
Oh.
Okay.
Was he a jerk?
He has a Pittsburgh connection. So, what is the guy's name? That's gonna drive me nuts.
Lou Malinato?
Who?
Lou Malinato?
No.
Let's Danny, continue your story while you're thinking about that. I want to hear what Danny's going to say.
I'm just thinking of comparisons to who cares about Bruce Springsteen. It's kind of like, who really stinks? The Beatles.
People say that, bro. People say some stuff like that. Hey, people say stuff like that.
You know who my favorite soft rock band is? Led Zeppelin. I mean, it's like
Led Zeppelin had talent.
You don't think Springsteen has talent?
Bruce Springsteen was iconic. People and I'm not saying whatever. I know Born in the USA, I like he had a few songs that catchy on the radio and stuff. But people just talk about Bruce Springsteen like he was a part of their lives from teenagers through their 20s.
Do you don't like Brian Fallon either, do you?
No.
Why?
It's just not my
Danny,
fan.
you got to get into Brian Fallon. I'm telling you right now. He was the singer of a band called Gaslight Anthem.
yeah.
Yeah, but when he went solo, dude, his solo records are so nice, man. They're so much fun to listen to. But neither here nor there. Chris doesn't like good music because he's mad right now.
I like a lot of good music.
I don't know. I find it shocking that, coming from a blue collar town like Pittsburgh, that, Bruce Springsteen definitely has that, common man, blue collar sort of appeal. So it was just completely shocking to hear, Chris say that. If I were in Bruce Springsteen's shoes, I don't know exactly how old Bruce is, but I mean,
he's got to be in his 60s.
I'd even say hitting 70 maybe.
Right. Yeah. I mean, he's getting up there, and
he looks great though.
Okay. And I can sell my music for $500 million. The only question I would have is, can I get $600 million?
Yeah, I'm with you, Dan.
I mean, as far as his kids go, I mean, I don't know how many kids he has, but you could just take that money and go, here's $100 million for you. Here's $100 million for you, and still have money left over. So,
man, you're gonna ruin those kids' lives. You got to put them in like an endowment or something. All right.
I mean, you ask any artist that their albums and their songs are like their children, and it's very hard to give up control of those things. But when you're getting paid that kind of cash, I mean,
that's a lot of cash.
That's a lot of cash, man.
Yeah.
But don't you think Bruce Springsteen, back to his style of music, though? I mean, think Bon Jovi. I mean, there's similarities there, don't you think?
I don't know. I
love Bon Jovi.
I was teasing Chris when I said that he doesn't like good music. Chris likes really good music. I just don't think Chris likes a lot of popular music.
Chris, who else do you not like? Well, besides Nickelback and Sugar Ray.
I figured out who it was. Dave Grishecki. I don't know if you know. He's like the Pittsburgh Bruce Springsteen. So when Bruce comes in, he always has Dave Grishecki open for him. So
I don't know Dave Grishecki. I know Donnie Iris.
Yeah, no, he's Dave Grishecki. He substitute teaches out in a suburb of Pittsburgh, but he had a couple hits and he toured with them for a while, and that was his claim to fame. And I think that's why I don't like him, because it's just this weird thing of this guy's nothing.
I have a theory.
Go ahead.
I'm going to boldly predict 2 other artists that Chris does not like.
Go for it.
John Cougar Mellencamp.
Yeah.
What?
You don't like him?
No.
And Bryan Adams.
No, I like Bryan Adams.
Oh,
No.
well, all right, well,
Danny, you missed the
one out
more
of 2 ain't
obvious one.
bad.
Danny, you missed the more obvious one. You ready?
Yeah.
The Eagles.
Yeah, hate him.
What?
Hate him.
Wow.
You had to go
Awful
obvious,
music.
Danny. Had to be
Wow.
right down the barrel. Bang.
I don't know. I don't put Eagles in the same category as Springsteen and Mellencamp and Bryan Adams.
I don't
The
know.
solo rock white guy. Kind of thing.
What about Chris? What about Kid Rock?
There's
He's
a couple.
fun. He's
Kid
fun.
Rock is fun.
Yeah.
He's party fun. He's
Rose,
like, I'm
the Eagles are the
drinking.
best.
That's what we need to do.
Yeah, he's fun.
He's fun.
And,
okay.
and
he's
I
fun.
respect him because
Look at
when he
the
came
the
through
signs
and he-
behind Chris's
I
head
know,
right there.
So when he came through and he made sure that like all the venues he played, no beer was over like $4, and all the tickets were like $20 with no ticket fees. I respect that. Because a lot of these guys that come through, their tickets are like $300, $500 for nosebleeds, and beers are $14. Kid Rock wanted everybody to party.
Good for Kid Rock.
Was he talented though?
In certain aspects, I think.
Dude, we played him. We played him for Adley has this kid that works for him on the he's a promotions
Promo
kid.
team? Yeah.
Yeah. And he's from the Middle East. Well, he's from where's he from?
Tanzania.
He's from Tanzania, but he's like really strict Muslim. He'd never heard of Kid Rock before. And so we're like, oh, dude, you want us to play it for you? And we're like, all right. So we played him Ba with the Ba. And dude, when we were done, he was like, that music's scary.
With the video too.
Yeah, we
with
played
the video.
I was singing
Oh my
along.
gosh,
And
dude.
this is for the questions that don't have any answers. Stuff just like this. All right, what's our next story, Adley? Come on, man.
Oh, that's good. All right, now we're going old school hip hop. Okay. Bring you
love
back
it.
to your Baker Boys days
I love
here,
it.
Danny.
I love it.
So this is pretty cool. Snoop Dogg joins Eminem, J. Cole, Jay-Z, and more for Big Daddy Kane's Netflix documentary.
Oh, it's gonna be sweet.
I'm actually looking forward to that.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, this is really cool. So Big Daddy Kane has been diligently working on the film for months. In September, the Long Live the Kane MC revealed J. Cole would join Jay-Z, Eminem, Common, Dougie Fresh, and KRS-One in the documentary. Kane shared on Instagram a video of himself talking about Cole's impact on hip-hop culture and why he's so important. To quote him, a lot of people out there right now are coming to people such as myself and many others, giving us our flowers and whatnot while we're still here. But listen, I want to give this young brother right here his flowers like on the real. So basically, Big Daddy Kane paying respect to some of these new artists too.
Wow, that's
Interesting
nuts.
to see. Danny, did the Baker Boys play some Big Daddy Kane? That might have been a little too early for
That was
them.
way
They're
too
90s.
early. Yeah, they play like
Big Daddy
Jay-Z,
Kane's
I
the
would
late
think.
80s.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Possibly, as an old school throwback.
I don't know, dude. Big Daddy Kane was dope though. They had that versus Big Daddy Kane versus KRS-One. You didn't realize how
wow.
many hits Big Daddy Kane had. You're like, I didn't even know I liked Big Daddy Kane.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
But I think it's
Everybody
dope.
samples him.
Yeah, definitely.
Mhm.
But I think it's dope that they're doing a documentary on something that we don't already know.
Yeah.
Because like, how many Who Shot Tupacs do I have to watch? It's like, bro, I just want to watch some hip hop stuff, bro. And all you guys Who Shot Tupac or The Life of Biggie, bro, I've already seen it 1,000 times. I already knew what happened in NWA movie before it even came out. Like, I already knew. I know all of it. I don't know nothing about this Big Daddy Kane. You know what I mean?
Yeah, this will be a great documentary too. And because Big Daddy Kane's, he was around even before like the LL Cool J's, the Run DMCs, and at their early start. I mean, he was that old school. He was like early Bismarcky on the same label.
Yeah,
as a
him
matter
and
of fact,
Biz,
so.
they were in that crew together. I can't remember. Dang it, they were.
It was Cold Chillin' Records, but I can't remember the name of the crew.
Yeah, it's the Roxanne episode I talked about it. But
Yeah, dang it.
yeah, that sounds dope, man.
So
Glad
what?
they
So
have KRS-One in there. I think he's one of the best lyricists in the game ever.
Have you ever met him?
No.
Really nice guy.
That's bucket list.
Really nice guy.
Vanilla Ice?
No.
Not on,
I didn't
not
meet
on
him
there,
either.
Not on there. Not on.
He has a show on HGTV that my mom watches about flipping houses. We're good.
Really?
Seriously?
Yeah.
Wow,
Oh,
good for him.
jeez. He's trying everything. That's cool. That's funny. That's funny. Now,
That's
Danny,
really
look,
metal.
Danny, I got a question for you. What documentary are we missing? No, any genre.
A documentary that you're missing?
Yeah. What
Yeah.
do we need? What do they
Does it
need
have
to
to,
make?
does it have to be music?
Not necessarily. What do you got in mind?
Well, so I'll give you two answers. Number one, the most recent documentary I watched was Tina, about Tina Turner. I watched that last week.
okay.
I thought that was kind
that
of cool.
sounds dope. Yeah.
I haven't seen Get Back from the Beatles yet. I definitely want to see that. And as far as an overall conspiracy thing, documentary thing, it relates to the social network. It's
The Social Experiment.
Yeah,
On Netflix? Is that the one you're talking about? Yeah, where they're talking about Facebook and all that.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's called The
Ooh.
Social Experiment.
Yeah.
I saw that,
so-
man. You watch that, that freaks you out.
It makes me never want to go on Facebook again.
I bought a different phone because of that. I was like, nah, I'm good. I'm
Yeah,
not trying to
I
look at my
just
phone no more.
Yeah, I remember watching that for maybe some confirmation bias, and it was definitely biased. And there was one line in particular in that documentary that I'm like, yep, that's what I was afraid one of those experts were going to say. And yeah, it's a little bit scary. So
Yeah.
I think that a lot of that. There's a lot of things online that I think are really dangerous to a lot of people.
To little girls specifically. I have a daughter, Danny, and she don't have a cell phone. Her brother, he's 12, my son Nehemiah, he doesn't have a cell phone either. He has a watch that he can call me on. But I don't want my kids having cell phones.
Nope.
Well, I definitely think, and there's definitely been a lot of reporting about the effect of social media on children. But I think there should be an equal concern at the way social media is affecting adults.
Absolutely, 100%. Because I feel like our brains are still the same muscle. You know what I mean? It's like, it's not like we just stopped learning because we got to a certain age. And I don't think our brains were adapted for this type of technology and this dopamine hit that people get from this. So,
Chris,
yeah.
now, Chris, would you watch a Bruce Springsteen documentary?
No, but for Mike, on Mike's behalf, and this is just a throwback, I watched a documentary a little bit ago called Pick It Up. It was about the ska in the 90s. It was unbelievable.
What did you see it on? What was it on?
I bought it on Amazon. It was like
Dude, you're a
$1.99.
sucker. I
to
don't like
watch.
spending that kind of money. I bootleg.
$1.99.
I bootleg, son.
Look, I'm gonna buy it for you, and you're gonna watch
Nah,
it.
don't do none of that
It
foolishness.
made me feel
I'll find it
so
on YouTube
good.
for free.
It made
Really?
me feel so good about my childhood and my teenage years with the whole ska era and just the positivity with ska music.
Yeah, it was fun.
Yeah, it was always a good time. It was a party. Nobody was fighting. Nobody was mosh pitting. Like, nobody was hitting anybody. It was all love.
It was all skanking.
Yeah.
All right, Adley, what we got for
Very
our next
cool.
story? Come on, man.
All right.
What do
Our
we got?
final story of the evening, ladies and gentlemen. This is a little bit more serious, but it's a big story here. Holly Madison, you guys know her she's had a couple reality shows. She started out as a Playboy bunny. She talks about her first traumatic experience spending the night with Hugh Hefner, saying he was pushed on top of me. Now, Holly Madison, she's getting candid about what it really was like being one of Hugh Hefner's many girlfriends. The former Playboy bunny, she appeared on Power, Hugh Hefner, a podcast where she recalled being invited to spend a night out with the magazine publisher. And according to the 41-year-old, she was hoping to be invited to live in the Playboy mansion because one of Hefner's girlfriends had recently left. She says, quote, I didn't really know what went on with him sexually, she claims. Quote, I knew there must be something and I was prepared for that. I wasn't prepared for what would eventually happen. They started out at the club, they went back to the mansion, and it goes on. I wasn't necessarily expecting to have sex that night, she said. I thought it'd be more of a first date. even though obviously it's not a very traditional first date. I thought it would be more the type of thing where I saw what happened, saw what was going on. If I wasn't comfortable with it, I wouldn't have to do anything that I could make my decision on whether I wanted to come back for date number 2 or not. Well, things progressed and she ended up hooking up with you, and she was saying it was very uncomfortable.
Dude, do you want to take us on the side and show the picture of her?
Let's see. Let me pull this up here so you guys can see her real quick. And just so you know who she is. And I felt like, didn't she do a thing in Vegas for a while?
I don't know.
The Holly Madison
show
thing,
her
too.
the one with Hugh though, so that way you can see the age
Yeah,
difference.
see her in the middle. Can you guys see her in the middle there?
Oh, can you blow that up?
Let me see if I can. I don't know if I can. Let's see if I double click on it, maybe. But nah, it's not letting me double click. But you definitely, you can tell Hugh is probably 90 there, and she's probably
Is she the one on the
25.
left or the right?
She's on the
one
left. She's the one on the left. She's the one on the left. So, and kind of my question too is,
All right, put us back in 4.
obviously, you know, non-consensual doing it is bad, obviously, and doing, you know, but do you really, if you're a young, beautiful woman, you want to hang out with Hugh Hefner, you go to the Playboy Mansion, are you really thinking nothing's going to happen? Is she doing this to become famous? Because obviously she went from Playboy Bunny to TV star to doing Vegas to all these things, a pretty successful career. I guess my question is, what do you think? Yeah.
What do you guys think?
I think all those women are exploited.
Taken advantage of?
Yeah, I really do.
Yeah.
You think the women are exploited? Explain,
Yeah.
Chris.
So I think that they get into it, and they're promised certain things, and you know you'll be famous, you'll do this, and they're compromised on their own values, and then once they've compromised on that the first time, then it's easier the next time and the next time and the next time, and they're just used. I think it's sick and sad.
Wow,
Yeah.
that's a good perspective. What do you think, Danny?
Mike, you have a daughter, you know, like if my daughter ever got into anything like that, I would kill people.
Oh yeah, that would be bad. That would be real bad.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Chris got a lot of guns, Danny. You weren't here on the last podcast, but I'll tell you the truth. Here's what happened. Right when the pandemic started, and there's these riots in Pittsburgh, right? But before there were riots in Pittsburgh, I don't have a gun. So I was like, hey, man, Chris, I know you got a lot of guns. Can I borrow a gun? And Chris lent me a gun for a year, Danny.
Wow.
I got my boy.
That's how many guns Chris has, dude. But anyways, yeah, dude, I wouldn't want to be on the other side of that craziness. But I don't know, dude. Like at the same time, Chris, and I'm not saying that this is correct, but doesn't it seem like this girl knew what she was doing?
Whether she knew what she was doing or not, she was still exploited. They knew they had power, and they could use that and make promises to do certain things, whether it's fame or a career or anything else. That's what it is. It's power.
I don't know, dude. She still made the decision to go hang out with this old lizard. Bro, Hugh Hefner was an ugly old lizard, dude. You got to admit that.
But she didn't make the decision. She was given a choice of career and making money and making it or not.
There had to be another way.
No.
Dude, and think about it. It doesn't just happen at the Playboy Mansion. Come on.
Oh, it happens everywhere.
Hollywood, music, everything, dude. Or not. I mean, yeah, everything. Come on. I mean, we've got all those different people, Harvey Weinstein, all that stuff too, where it's just, yeah. So, I mean, I don't know. I feel like you could have avoided the situation, but that fame is a very big, shiny carrot. They're waving in front of you, and you put your, well, I don't know. And it's wrong. It's totally wrong. But I'm just saying that's you get tricked into being in those places. You're like, oh man, what do I do now?
I totally think these girls are exploited.
Spanks, we need your opinion here.
I think it's one of those things where you just have to be really careful what you say, because you've seen a lot of, I don't know, I've just seen a lot of things being taken out of context and twisted into
Mhm.
a negative way. And I certainly don't want to
Yeah,
be.
you got to be careful with your words, Danny.
I mean,
Don't
yeah, I
say
mean,
nothing. Don't say
yeah.
nothing.
So,
I'll say something. That way you don't get accused of it.
no,
I
I
think
mean,
that
I
I
think,
think that Hugh Hefner was a perverted dude. I don't care. I'll be
Mhm.
on record.
Mm.
Everybody and their mother can hear me say it. I think Hugh Hefner was a perverted old man. And I think the only reason why them girls went after that dude was for the paper. Because in real life, if that man was attractive to those girls, then man, my neighbor Ricky would be a pimp, dude. That dude would have ladies all up and down the street, dude. That dude would have
I would. Well, I mean, the one thing I can say, obviously, anything that's non-consensual is absolutely wrong and should be. I mean, it's just wrong. Period. You
100%.
know, everybody agrees on that. But to go back to the original story, so this is coming out in a book that she has. Is that right? What
Just
is it?
came out on a podcast. She was talking about details of it.
All right, and
So she's making no money from it.
That I don't know.
How long ago did Hugh Hefner die?
I know.
10 years at least, right?
No,
And
no.
Was it not
10
that?
years?
It hasn't been that long?
I'd
Been a
say
minute.
5 if that.
Maybe 5?
It's been a minute.
And how long ago did she leave the Playboy Mansion?
At least 20.
Whoa, that's
Because she's 41 right now, so she's
Several
probably in her
years.
20s. Yeah.
several years.
Maybe 15.
I don't know. I just think if I were her and I would have gone through that, I probably would have spoke up sooner, me personally.
Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah. Interesting. Oh, yeah. But yeah, that's,
Bro,
I
I
just
heard
think the
some
main thing is
crazy
be
stuff
careful.
about. I don't know. I've
Seriously.
heard some crazy stuff about Hefner, bro. I'm not gonna lie. Now, obviously, it was like on weird podcasts and stuff, so I can't, solidify everything I've heard about Hefner. But he seemed like a creepy. Didn't he seem like a creepy? Am I the only one that thinks that dude seemed like a creepy?
We went to we had a radio trip down to the
Oh,
mansion
that's
for the it was like a poker tournament at the Playboy Mansion.
Adley
like-
went to the Playboy
Yeah, so we
Mansion.
went and stuff, and it was weird. I will say that, but there was famous people in this poker tournament, playing poker, and girls, they weren't naked, but they had the body paint on pretty much. So they were walking around, and they had the grotto, that kind of cave by the pool and stuff. And I peeked in there, and it was, I mean, I left kind of early too. I didn't stay.
Dude, I bet
till
you that
the
grotto was just
craziness.
herpes soup, dude.
I
bet you
didn't
that
go
grotto
in
was
it.
just herpes
I did
soup.
not go in it, man. You couldn't put enough chlorine in that pool, man. There's no way, dude. So I didn't go in it, but I checked it out, and it was like, all right, I went to it and stuff. But I'm sure if we stayed later, some craziness would have ensued, I'm sure. But yeah, Hugh Hefner was walking around. He's had his pipe. He had his velvet robe on, and he was cruising around. And
You didn't think he was weird, dude? Come on,
I-
man. Am I
he-
the only one that thinks this guy's weird?
he's definitely odd.
Not.
And I feel like wasn't there a movie about him?
Yeah.
There was, right? And
There
he'd
was?
gotten kind of rejected by women, and that was kind of like how it turned out. He kind of said, like he kept getting rejected, and so then he made this magazine, and then started the mansion, and it was like kind of a poker hall and all this stuff, and you could be a Playboy bunny. It started out this whole thing, and it was kind of his way as kind of almost like getting back at women. It sounded
What?
like so.
Really?
Yeah. I can't,
I've
man.
never
That
heard
was
this story before.
was that like the 80s or 90s when this movie came out. It was way back, and I'm sure it was a random, like, I guess it's on, I'll watch it. And I was like, oh my gosh. Yeah.
I don't know,
Wow.
dude. That just
Wow.
sounds like an anti-pornography movie that they're trying to hustle on you to make this man sound horrible. I just thought he was a creepy.
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
Either
you think
way.
about it. You think about it, and so his whole life, he made a lot of money, and he was just surrounded by beautiful naked women. I think that's the word for that is genius, Mike. Mike, imagine here's your life until the day you die. You're going to make a lot of money and be surrounded by young, beautiful, naked women. What do you say?
The problem is, Danny, I'm being honest. Like, I'm married and whatnot, but even if if somehow my wife passed away and I had to find a new lady, bro, I wouldn't want to have I don't need those kind of headaches. When I was 20, yeah, that sounds great. But if I'm 67, still trying to pretend somebody give me that Viagra.
But that's the thing with Hef is like he got on that ride early. So I mean, it's not like he was, you or me. It's like, look, I got my girl. I'm going to stick with her. I don't need that stuff. But if we go back to when we were, I don't know, in our 20s,
23
or 30s or something like that,
Yeah.
it was like, you're 20 years old or 25 or whatever. For the next 75 years, here's the deal. You're going to make a lot of money and hang out with beautiful naked women. What do you say? Yeah, I'm going to sign that. Yeah.
Danny, I'm not disagreeing with you to a certain extent. Like, but at the same time, you, me, and Adlai were radio broadcasters in our 20s. So we had our fair share of being able to find ladies. You know what I mean? Like, it wasn't that hard to find ladies. And dude, I just don't want to be that weird old guy ever. And dude, Hef definitely was, man. He needed to bow out at like 56, like James Bond or something.
I won't disagree with that.
What say you, Chris?
I mean,
what say you, Chris?
He was creepy. I mean, 100%. He's a creeper. He's the mayor of Creeperstown. That's it. Like anybody that old around young people, nah.
Yeah, it's weird, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, well, we got to move on to the next topic, can we?
Yeah, that was our last story.
Well, I want Danny to see what's behind me. I don't know if you even noticed.
Oh my goodness, the fantasy football trophy.
It's been sitting there.
I forgot about that.
That definitely should not be in your house this year.
Dude, Urbanic, we play fantasy football, and Danny's in charge
Why
of
don't
the.
you bring it up here and bring it next to the camera
Yeah.
so we can get a nice peek at it?
Yeah, he's in charge. Danny's in charge of the fantasy football team. Well, you're in charge of a few of them, but the radio one in Bakersfield, and I've won it. My first year I played back in 13, 14, whatever that was, and then this last year I won.
Yeah, you're a two-time winner. I'm a two-time winner. DJ Selk, I believe, is a two-time winner. Randy might be.
He might be. It might be. Yeah, he's looking close this year. But I'm dead last this year. So
Oh man,
dead
Yeah, so-
last. My team just is trash.
I'll be swinging by to pick up that trophy soon.
Who's your quarterback, Adelaide?
Dak Prescott. So it's hit or miss.
Yeah.
Yeah, Saquon Barkley has been my running back, and he's been hit or miss.
He was my keeper in
Jones
my
was
league, and
my
then I
league.
have Mahomes, and he's
Trash.
been
oh
trash.
dude,
Yeah, dude, he's
That
hit or
was-
miss. Danny's doing good this year, though, huh? Spanks, you're doing good this year.
Yeah,
Playoffs. Yeah.
last year I did really, really bad. I was in I'm in 9 leagues, and
You're in
last
9
year,
leagues?
Jesus.
Yeah.
Wait, how do you have
Last-
time to do that? And we didn't get to your nonprofit either.
That's the next thing I wanted to talk
Yeah,
about.
so
after this.
how do you have time to be in 9? You're not married, I'm assuming, Danny, correct?
We're not married. We've been together for, I don't know, 15, 14 years.
You got kids?
We do not have kids. I have kids. She has a grandson.
I'm just trying to figure out how you have all this free time to do all this crap, man. I ain't got no time for no 9 football leagues and all this. Now, tell us about this nonprofit for the animals.
A Safer Place Animal Rescue here in Bakersfield, California, Kern County. Myself and Sheila and Casey, the 3 of us, we rescue puppy dogs and kitty cats in need. How we go about doing that, it's different. Sometimes it's dogs that we encounter on the streets. Sometimes it's people hitting us up and informing us about a situation where an animal needs rescue. Sometimes it's owner surrenders. Sometimes it's saving animals from being euthanized in our local shelters. So there's a lot of different areas where animals need help here in Bakersfield, and Sheila and Casey and myself do what we can to try to help.
Now, do you find them homes? Also, do you find them adoptive homes?
Yes, absolutely. We do our best to find them. First step is typically a foster home, just a short-term home, and then we want to make sure that we screen applications to make sure that the people that do adopt the dog or cat into their home permanently is a good fit, makes sense. So there's a screening process. But yes, we absolutely find forever homes for the animals, and we also work with other rescue organizations in bigger cities like Los Angeles or San Francisco, and sometimes there are situations where we will rescue an animal and transfer them to a larger rescue organization outside of Bakersfield.
Wow, that's cool, man.
Yeah, very cool. How many animals have you rescued, you think, over the span of Safer Place?
a lot.
Yeah.
That's really cool, man. That's really cool.
Shout out to Sheila Powelson, because we actually worked with her at iHeart, and she's a big part of Safer Place as well. And there was actually a time, I was going to say that one time where you actually cleared the shelter, right? Or oh my gosh, what is it called?
Like it was. Well, you're putting me. Why can't I remember? It's
the Kern.
I don't know.
Kern.
Oh, I don't. It's going to come to me in a few minutes.
Okay.
But anyway, it's an annual event in which animal shelters pledge not to euthanize. Well, there's a couple different things. One is that animal shelters pledge not to euthanize any animals on a particular day, and there's also many times adoption events where the idea and the concept is to get as many dogs and cats adopted as possible, and to clear the shelter so that the shelter is absolutely empty. And there's been a couple of situations. My involvement here in Bakersfield has been with the county animal shelter on Fruitvale, and there's been a couple times where they've been successful in that endeavor, and so I volunteer there as well.
Very cool. Shout out to Nick, right? He's over there, right?
Now, what got you involved with that, Danny? What made you start like really being passionate about animals?
There were a couple different factors, several different factors. One of them was, as Adlai mentioned, Sheila Powelson was our co-worker, and she was involved in a Safer Place animal rescue even before I was. So she definitely played a role, seeing the good that she was doing in Bakersfield and Kern County. My girlfriend Nancy, she was volunteering at the county animal shelter, and I saw the difference that she was making, and I went in and I looked inside the county animal shelter and saw these amazing dogs that were homeless and needed to find homes and were at risk of being euthanized. That definitely had an impact on me. So there's a couple of, real world situations that had an effect. One involved actually my son and my girlfriend, Nancy, and Sheila, helping out a dog in need and seeing that happy ending. It really, made an impact on me. And another situation, which is not so happy, was I just remember taking my son to school at the time, seeing a little small dog on the, that was clearly lost, on the, walking down the sidewalk or whatever. And I had the thought of, maybe I should stop and do something, but no, I got to get my son to school, and, I'm too busy for this or whatever. And so I dropped my son off from school. And then when I was driving back home on the same road, the dog had been hit and killed by a car. When I saw that, I just made the promise. It's like, okay, I'm never going to do that again. I never want to feel the way I feel. I never want to feel this guilt. I could have saved that dog's life, and so now, if I can make a difference, if I can help a dog, I'm going to do that.
Very cool.
That's cool. Yeah.
Yeah. And what's your YouTube channel?
A Safer Place Animal Rescue on YouTube. Please check out some of our videos.
Yeah,
we have a lot of wonderful stories, and and many of our stories have been picked up by the Dodo. They're a huge YouTube channel. They have a huge social media presence. Matter of fact, our most recent Dodo video was released within the last 24 hours, and it already has like 1 million views through the Dodo. You can see the original video on our YouTube channel, A Safer Place Animal Rescue. And but yeah, it's pretty cool. It's pretty neat. I never thought there'd be anything. I never thought there'd be anything that I loved as much as or more than radio, but helping dogs in Kern County is definitely number one on the list.
Wow.
Very cool.
That's
very
great.
commendable. Thank you, Danny,
really
for doing that. That's awesome, man, too. And that's because I even remember, too, Sheila was working on something where there was a guy out in the desert and there was like 100 and something dogs out there. And you guys, that was insane. Man, could you elaborate on that story?
I think you kind of gave the short, accurate story. There was a guy, I believe it was in Delano, McFarland, someplace north in Kern County, and it was a very rural area in the middle of nowhere. And the guy, lived in kind of like a trailer, and just had 90 dogs, 100 dogs,
cow.
just.
And
they were all living out there, and it was a bad situation. There were sick and injured dogs, it was a bad situation.
Dude, that's horrible.
But yeah, it was, a lot of different rescue people here in Bakersfield and Kern County, along with the county animal shelter. They all worked together to, address that situation. Yeah, it was definitely a teamwork to make sure that that situation got handled.
Amazing work what you guys do,
yeah.
for sure. And Mike, I do have one last thing I want to ask him.
What's that?
I was just thinking, so a guy that knows nothing about music, what are your 3 have to give him bands? What are 3 bands? So it's like if I rolled up and was like, man, I don't know what good music is.
Oh yeah.
Can you help me out?
Yeah. So
what 3 artists do I listen to or bands?
Yeah. So when Moose was on the air a couple weeks ago, he was like, I really like The Weeknd, but my favorite rapper is Drake. And I just couldn't help it. And I started screaming, Moose, you have terrible taste in music. And I just couldn't stop making fun of it. I just rattled and rattled and rattled. And then Adley was like, all right, then give him 3 artists. And I was like, all right. So yeah, Danny, if there was a kid and they're like, I want to know what good music sounds like. Yeah, give us 3 artists.
That's like, for a disc jockey or for a music geek, that's like an impossible question.
I know, that's why
answer. So what I will do is I will just go to what I know, and I'll just go to we'll just start with my 2 favorites, my favorite band and my favorite artist. So my favorite band would be Kiss.
Well,
the hottest band in the world. All right.
nice.
That's my favorite band. And my favorite artist would be God's gift to rock and roll, Billy Idol. There's his tattoo right there. When he came to Bakersfield, he signed my arm, and I got a tattoo to prove that I was the
awesome.
biggest Billy Idol fan in Bakersfield. So I'll go with Kiss and Billy Idol, 2 of my favorites. And for a third band, let's see, we'd have to do, those are both, kind of rock, so we'd have to go in a different direction. You know what? Why not go with somebody that's had an incredible career and incredible, incredible songs. God, let's just go with Elton John.
Oh, nice.
Like yeah.
Okay. Very cool. Yeah, that's awesome.
Well, thanks for being on the show, dude. That was a really good show. Urbanic dropped out. He said his computer died. He texted me.
Oh.
That's what I kind of figured. I was like,
I will circle back real quick. The documentary I was thinking of, The Social Dilemma.
That's it. The social dilemma. Yeah, dude, it freaks you out, Adley. You watch that show, your kid's never getting a phone. It freaks you out. Dude.
He has a phone, but I'd have to take it away too. Yeah.
I'm telling you, you gotta watch that. You're gonna freak out.
Yeah.
All right, you guys, thanks for watching. Follow us on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, all that stuff. And we'll see you later. Boop.